At the end of the day, if you're eating too many calories, you'll gain fat. On the other hand, if you're not eating enough calories, then you won't have very much muscle and your metabolism will slow down, leaving you looking skinny fat. So how many calories should you be eating? I'm going to show you step by step how to find that out in this video. Welcome back everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 easy steps to find out exactly how many calories you need to be eating to lose fat and gain muscle. Let's get into it. Step 1, if you're not already doing so, you need to start tracking your food intake. Now I've already made a video showing you exactly how to do this, which I will link here and also in the description down below. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this step, but I would definitely go check that out if you're new to tracking your food. Now the reason you need to be tracking your food is simply because how will you know how many calories you're eating if you don't? You cannot look at a plate of food and just eyeball how many calories it has in it. It's not going to happen. Unless you're tracking your food, you will not know for sure how many calories you're eating. You're just guessing. In order for you to know how many calories you need to eat, you first need to know how many calories you're currently eating. Why is this important? Well, number 1, we know that the current amount of calories you're eating is obviously not working or you wouldn't be watching this. Number 2, as you know, if you eat too many calories, you will gain fat. If you don't eat enough calories, you won't have very much muscle. If I just said, okay, 2,500 calories. Start there. That could be either way more or way less than you actually need. This is why calorie calculators don't work. If you've ever tried to find out how many calories you need by using an online calorie calculator, you know this is true. I don't care if you put in your age, your height, the year you graduated, your shoe size, your great-grandma's maiden name, doesn't matter. If you don't know how many calories you're currently eating, then you will never be able to figure out how many calories you need to be eating. Okay, rant over. So how do we find out how many calories you need to be eating? Glad you asked. So we established already that step number 1 is to start tracking your food. So step number 2 is to take a 7-day average of how many calories you've been eating. In order to complete step 2, it's important that when you're going through step 1 that you're just simply tracking your food. Don't try to hit a certain calorie goal. I know that apps like MyFitnessPal will actually generate a calorie goal for you, but just like all these other online calculators, it's wrong. You need to be eating everything that you would normally eat for 7 consecutive days. Again, don't try to hit any calorie goals, don't try to hit any macro goals, just simply track. And please don't start eating super healthy and change everything that you normally eat during this time. This will throw off the whole process. If it's not something that you would normally eat on an average day, don't eat it during this week. If you eat a bag of chips for breakfast and a caramel macchiato for lunch, then you eat that bag of chips and you be the first in line at Starbucks because that's what you're putting into MyFitnessPal for the day. This step is crucial. We need to know exactly how many calories you're eating each day on an average week. Don't change your eating habits just yet. Once you've tracked your food for 7 days, take an average of how many calories you've been eating. To do this, just simply add up the amount of calories you've eaten each day over the past 7 days and divide that number by 7. Now, if you're using MyFitnessPal, then you can easily find out how many calories you've been eating by going to your food diary and looking in the calories remaining section. Once you're here, look at the calorie section labeled food. This is how many calories that you've actually eaten. Again, don't worry about your goal right now or the other 2 categories. Once you see this number, click the left arrow at the top of your screen and you can go back to your previous days and see how many calories you consumed on those days. Do this for your past 7 days of tracking. Add all those numbers up and then divide by 7 to get your 7-day average. This number is how many calories you eat per day on average. Now, once you know your average calorie intake, you can start to make some adjustments, which leads me to step number 3, adjusting your protein intake. The first thing you need to do after you know your average daily calorie intake is to make sure that within those calories you're eating enough protein each day. Sometimes the smallest adjustments can make the biggest changes. It could very well be that the amount of calories you're currently eating is fine, but you're not eating enough protein to actually build any muscle. So, take your body weight, multiply it by 0.8, and then again by 1. This is going to give you a range. As long as you hit your calorie goal and your protein intake falls within that range, you're golden. Don't think you absolutely have to eat the same amount of protein each day. For example, if I weigh 180 pounds and one day I only get 165 grams of protein, and then the next I hit 178 grams of protein, as long as you hit your calorie goal and your protein falls within that range, then you're totally fine. Don't stress about hitting your macros to the T. Obviously still aim to hit your protein goal, but if you fall short a little bit, it's a-okay. Just do your best to stay within that range. If you're wondering about carbs and fats, you still need them in your diet and they both play important roles when it comes to building muscle, losing fat, and your overall health, but they can fluctuate as well. as long as you hit your daily calorie and protein goal. I recommend that your carbs take up between 40 and 50% of your calories, and then your fats can take up anywhere between 15 and 30%. Now, another benefit of using MyFitnessPal is that it will automatically adjust how many grams you need of each macro whenever you adjust your percentages. Again, I do a detailed explanation of how to use MyFitnessPal in this video, so definitely go check that out if you're confused about how I'm finding all of this. So at this point in this video, assuming you've tracked your food for 7 days, you have your average daily calorie intake, and you've adjusted your protein, carbs, and fats, the next step is to set your calorie goal to however many calories your average daily calorie intake is, adjust your macros, protein, carbs, and fats, and then aim to hit your new calorie and macro goals each day. Do this for at least a couple of weeks and see how your body is changing. How is your weight changing? Is it going up? Down? Maybe it's staying the same? Are your clothes fitting differently? Take a progress pic before you start and then another after 14 days. Can you tell any differences so far? Now, I'm not saying after 2 weeks that you should be shredded and have a six-pack, but if what you're doing is working, you should be able to notice some minimal changes. If your body seems like it's changing for the better, more muscle definition, less fat, more energy, then perfect. Keep doing what you're doing. If not, and you feel like not much has changed, then number one, you need to ask yourself if you've been working out consistently and giving it 100% when you do work out, because no amount of calories will give you a lean muscular body. You actually have to be working out to give your muscles a reason to need the food that you're eating. Number two, you need to ask yourself if you've been tracking your food correctly. Have you been hitting your calorie and protein goals? Are you actually putting everything you eat into MyFitnessPal, or is there some things that maybe you did eat but you forgot to add? Maybe you added your food into MyFitnessPal but you ate a little bit more afterwards. If you're consistently working out hard and tracking your food correctly and you're still not seeing changes, then you need to move on to step number 5, which is to adjust your calories. Bump them up 100 calories from whatever your current calorie goal is and adjust your macros accordingly, following the rules that we outlined previously in this video. Now repeat the process. Eat those new calories for a week or two and track your changes. You may be wondering, why do I raise my calories first? Most of you are probably not eating enough currently to even give your body the fuel it needs to build muscle, which will allow you to burn more calories so that you can actually lose fat. You want to be able to eat as many calories as possible while losing fat. This will keep you happy. It will allow you to be more flexible with what you eat. It will give you energy to not only have good workouts, but to function and think properly. It will keep your metabolism running high and will prevent you from losing weight too quickly, which would just cause you to become skinny fat. Again, once you add these calories, be patient and give your body time to change. Track your progress. If you like what you see, keep doing what you're doing. If you feel like not much has changed, then you can add in more calories and see how your body changes. If you feel like you added calories and all you did was gain weight and unwanted fat, then you're eating too many calories. You should then slowly take away 100 calories at a time and continue to track how your body responds. Again, before you adjust your calories, whether that be adding more or taking some away, make sure that you're actually giving your body time to change, and make sure that you've been working out consistently and tracking your food correctly. If you've missed a few workouts, went on vacation, or haven't really been hitting your calorie and protein goals for whatever reason, then you probably shouldn't make any adjustments quite yet. Wait until you've had some pretty average weeks of you working out consistently and tracking your food correctly before you decide to make any changes. And I get it. Life happens and you're not always going to have a perfect week, if ever. We all have responsibilities, and your fitness journey shouldn't consume your whole life. Take what you consider to be an average week for you and use that to compare how your body is changing. Be patient and be consistent. Pay attention to how your body is changing and make slight adjustments based off what you see and how you feel. Avoid adding or taking away huge amounts of calories. This will just cause you to either gain fat or lose muscle very quickly. Small increases and decreases over time is all that's needed. As always, guys, comment down below if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. Like this video if you found it helpful. I would very much appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I've got plenty of new videos coming out each week that you're not going to want to miss. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.